Apart from the hops, these are exactly the same thing. People say maybe don't use it in cider. Some people have had bad experiences. It doesn't taste like sick to me. Welcome to the channel, I'm Daryl Smith, and on this video, I'm gonna be brewing a hard cider, as Americans call it, or a turbo cider, as it's called normally in the UK. It's kind of named that because it is really easy to make and it can be super strong if you want it to be. If you've never brewed before as well, this is actually possibly the greatest entry point for you. It allows you to learn a lot of the technique involved in brewing without actually having to boil anything or have to have any specialist gear. All you really need is a Demijohn and an airlock, some yeast, fruit juice, and you're pretty much away. The reason this is such an easy brewing method is because you don't need to concern yourself with pressing any fruit. All of the fruit juice that you'll use to make the cider is straight out of the supermarket. You can use concentrated or pure juice, and you can use various different fruits as well. You don't necessarily need to use apples like what I do in this video, although I have heard that pineapple juice just ends up tasting like sick. If you know otherwise, then let me know, but I've heard awful things about it. I actually brewed 2 different ciders on the same day. I also tried out making a hopped cider, which is actually a great gluten-free alternative for beer. Maybe you like the taste of hops, but beer doesn't agree with you, then you can try hoppy cider and maybe you'll fall in love with it, and it's really easy to make. So here's how my brew day went.
On this brew day, I went for a cloudy not from concentrate apple juice. Apple juice from concentrate will also work and will give you clearer results. A step you can avoid, but I would recommend, is to steep 2 English tea bags in boiling water for 10 minutes. You'll need to add about 200 ml per gallon of apple juice. The tea provides the tannins which would normally be added to the cider from the apple's skins if you were pressing fresh fruit. Most supermarket apple juice gives you a starting gravity of around 1050. You can add more sugar to make it stronger, but I opted not to do that. I then filled 2 sanitized Demijohns with apple juice until they were almost full, leaving space to add my tea. I was keen on this brew day to try out Kveik Voss yeast to make the cider. I've read mixed reports on the results and really wanted to try it for myself. You could try the same thing, or you could go for a specific cider or wine yeast. I also gave both batches some Yeast Nutrient to help the yeast have a healthy fermentation. This step again can be skipped, but I recommend it. Because Kveik yeast can set off so aggressively, I opted for using blow-off tubes to start with rather than airlocks to avoid any mess. It did not take long before the fermentation kicked off, and after just 24 hours, the yeast was at high krausen, which was when I decided to add my dry hop addition to one of the batches. Adding the hops at this time causes something called biotransformation, which results in the yeast generating bolder hop flavors and aromas. I went for 30 grams of Simcoe because it's fruity, it's got citric, passion fruit, apricot, and berry notes, and it would really complement the apples in the cider. After a few more days, it was time to bottle it, and a week after that, it was time to drink it.
So after all of that, I added some more sugar to my cider and bottled it so that it carbonated. You could at this point back sweeten it, but the fact is with back sweetening, you can only really successfully do it if you have like a keg. You know, if you're able to put CO2 into it, because you need to use something like potassium sorbate, which will kill all the yeast that's in your cider, and then you're able to then back sweeten with say more of the same apple juice that you used to start with. At that point, then you can keg it, and then you can obviously drink it straight away by carbonating it using your keg setup. But I don't have that, so instead I added sugar and then I bottled it. I've then left it to condition for about 6 weeks. I did try the version of it without hops in it after about a week, and it tasted all right, but it certainly needed a bit more time. I then, being completely honest, then I went to record this video where I was going to taste it, and I was going to tell you that I'd obviously already once tried the version without hops in it, and then I was going to try for the very first time the hop version. Now, as you see here, about 10 minutes ago, I recorded the whole video without realizing that my phone, which I'm recording on, had completely filled all of its memory. And I was just recording for no reason because it wasn't working. It seems a shame to open up more of the bottles upstairs for the illusion that I haven't tried these yet. But I have, you know, I can pour more in to trick you. Look at that, I'm pouring the hopped one. Oh, I've never tasted this. I hope it tastes good. And here is the non-hopped version. Oh, I've definitely not talked about this loads today. So look, there they both are. That's both versions. You see, the hopped version has got a bit of a clinging head. That's quite interesting, isn't it? I didn't really realize that hops could be a big part of a head. Apart from the hops, these are exactly the same thing. It's quite interesting. So first off, let's just have a look at the non-hopped version. It's lovely. It tastes like cider, but it is very dry, and like a lot of the appley taste is gone, but that's to be expected. You know, it could come back with back sweetening, but as I've said already, I haven't got that luxury here. But this tastes like something I could happily enjoy in the garden, you know, on a sunny day. This is refreshing. It's got no harsh tastes in it. It tastes like cider. I feel like it looks like cider, cloudy cider, of course, but it's nice. It's could be maybe possibly more carbonated, but it's still lovely. So yeah, I've made cider. It's interesting with Kveik yeast, you know, people say maybe don't use it in cider. Some people have had bad experiences. It doesn't taste like sick to me, you know, it tastes like cider. Now, I'm very excited about this. Unfortunately for you, I've already tasted this and I know that this is worth being excited about. First off, the smell, comparatively, that this is almost has no smell whatsoever. Really, nothing coming from it smell-wise. But this, oh my God. It's just, you get a big blast of that Simcoe. Really, 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 really like quite florally and fruity. And the taste? It's like this on steroids. It's amazing because obviously this is not sweet and this is not sweetened anymore. But the hops seem to give it like almost the illusion of sweetness to it. It has a bit of the lemon and lime squash to it. Yeah, just all the classic kind of citrus kind of notes. It's so fruity. Like this is something that I would really enjoy in the summer. This just smells and tastes like festivals. Possibly one of my greatest moments in my brewing adventure because it's so easy to make and the payoff is phenomenal. How hard I have to work to make a really good beer compared to how easy this was to make. Maybe I should start making this more. Certainly in the summer, I'm going to start rotating this. I'm going to make bigger batches and start giving it to people because it's so good. I can't believe there's no big breweries that I'm aware of, I could be wrong, but no big breweries in the UK, certainly, that aren't making hopped ciders because it feels like this is like an absolute sleeper hit. This is like something that could easily be the next big trend. It's got no gluten in it as well, which is a big pro for a lot of people who suffer from gluten intolerance. So yeah, it's like it ticks a lot of boxes for people. I really want to try it again, but maybe using from concentrate apple juice. I've not made a cider using that yet. I mean, these are the first two ciders I've ever made. I'd also be absolutely fascinated to try lots of different hops in this. Citra would surely be absolutely delicious in this. Let me know if you've ever hopped a cider, what your experiences were of it, you know, what hops you enjoyed using, what juices maybe you've used in the past as well. I'd love to know if anyone else has found success in brewing it. And please let me know if you've ever brewed a cider using pineapple juice with any success, because as I've said earlier, I've heard it only tastes like sick. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, then please do. I'll catch you in my next experiment. Thank you so much. Cheers.